Alright, so today's haircut is going to be a high fade, which is what my dad regularly asks for. We're going to start off by wetting the hair. Next up, we're going to grab our comb and we're going to section the hair out from the side parts to the top of the head. Now we're just going to comb the hair in its natural pattern and make that cowlick go the way that the hair wants it to go. Next we're going to grab our trimmer and make that baseline just right around the head. Also try and keep the line very round and straight so that the fade doesn't come out bad or crooked. So we try and keep it the best circle or line that we can, just so the fade comes out a little bit better. Also, I try to keep the trimmer blade going from down to up so I don't create that much harsh of a guideline, so it's more easier that I could take it out later in the haircut. Next we're going to start debulking with the trimmer, and we'll try and brush away the little hairs that stay on the head, but meanwhile we're just debulking the hair and trying to get that ready for that close shaver. The thing I really like about this and this trimmer is that it's very easy to debulk and it almost cuts through the hair like butter. It's very good for debulking and it's a very good trimmer. The blade is really good and it just feels really good, honestly, in the hand when you're using it for your haircut. Honestly, just look how easy the trimmer gets through the hair. The bulk's really easy. Honestly, it's my favorite trimmer to use. Very good and very good for the bulk. I try and get rid of all the little hairs left on the head so that it's easier for that close shaver to come in and just get rid of that and just get rid of the stubble and make it look really fresh. Always also try and keep those little hairs out the head and just try and keep your head clean as possible, so that it's easier to see maybe the spots you left or maybe places you missed, so you can come back and just hit it again with the trimmer. Alright, here I'm just hitting those spots. I told you guys to hit those spots so the close shaver can just come in and take that all out. But first, make sure to keep it short so it's easier for the shaver to just glide over the head. Alright, now we're going to grab our shaver and just get rid of all that stubble. And I try to flip it around so it cuts better. Also guys, remember to not take up the shaver too high, because it's going to be a really hard guideline to get rid of. And that's what I struggled with the most at the start of the haircuts I used to do with the shaver. And honestly, just try and keep it around one finger down, because it's going to be a harsh guideline that maybe you can't get rid of with the trimmer or clipper. I'm just moving a little bit more up the shaver guideline, just so I can get it a little bit more closer to that trimmer guideline, but I try and keep it a little bit like a finger's width, so it's easier to remove it. The only bad thing I would say about using the shaver with its charger or cable is that it's harder to move around with it, but honestly, in cases like this that it's almost about to die, you should always have your charger with you so you can just get it easy and just be ready to cut hair again. Here you can clearly see the guideline I made with the shaver and the trimmer. Alright, now this is the open blade with the magic clips. But I noticed that it was only cutting on one side of the blade, so I was noticing that, and I was thinking maybe it was dying or something, but it wasn't. It was the blade that was malpositioned, so I had to try and make the best out of it. But with the open blade, we're trying to make fingers width of a guideline right about above the trimmer and the one where we created with the trimmer. Alright, here I try to like grab clipper, like kind of like use the comb to cut it with the hair, but I noticed that it wasn't really cutting, so I try to go back to open blade, but I also noticed that it wasn't cutting too. Alright, here I pulled up my backup clippers and did the same thing with the open blade, and honestly it was just way better than the magic clips, maybe because of the blade, but honestly it was cutting really good and it was making it easy to make that first guideline with the open blade. Honestly, I don't really know what caused the problem with the magic clips blade, but I might check that out later. But this clipper is really getting the job done. Alright, now we're grabbing our closed lever and we're going to try and take out that guideline, bottom of the guideline with that closed blade, and just try and take it out with the closed blade. Alright, now we're trying to just move up the lever a little bit more open and just try and take out those guidelines to see if you could just blend the guideline a little bit better, and just opening the lever little bit by little bit until you see that guideline is finally gone away, and just open it and just play with that lever until you see that the guideline gets a little bit softer and you just get the blend a little bit better. Alright, here we're coming back with that closed blade and we're just going around the head trying to lever play with the lever and just try and soften that guideline out and trying to blend it a little bit better just by opening and closing. And honestly, this magic clip is a really good clipper, and it's easy to blend. It's also easier to blend it because of that floating lever, because what some people call it, but honestly it's just a really good clipper. I just don't know what happened at the start of the haircut. Also, just keep in mind that I'm using the magic clip here because I did zero gap the other clipper, which is possible that it could make harsher guidelines, so I stuck with the magic clip. Here I just come in with my backup clipper with the one open, and I honestly stuck with this with the opens because it just cuts better, and also with the problem with the magic clip that it wouldn't cut properly. So this is the one open. Here we're just setting up another guideline about also a finger's width, and just right above that open guideline, and just keep it about a finger's width, which is what I try to make it. But remember to stretch those guidelines out because it makes it easier to fade better, honestly. Also, I try and knock those hairs out because my dad's hairs from the back are spiky, so I just try and take them out with that one open. But right now we're just setting in our guidelines. Honestly, now you can see a little bit more of that fade coming in, but right now we're still setting in our guidelines, and we're combing the hair, trying to get it into natural position and try and comb it down to set those guidelines in. Passing in that open blade another time just to really set in that guideline and make it stretched and keep it a good guideline. Alright, now I just grabbed that one closed guard, and we're just going to go halfway of where that one open guideline was at, because we're going to pass another guard below the one closed. So we're just trying to keep kind of fading it and keep it better. Right, and now we grab our half guard halfway, and we're just trying to take out that guideline between the open and the closed, try and connect it so it could blend more. And what I didn't do here was to play with that lever and try and get rid of that guideline. But honestly, I didn't really see the guideline, so I just stuck with the half open. So this is just me using the 0.5 guard just to get rid of that guideline between the open and the one closed. Right now we're just using that 1.5 closed just to try and get the hair to set in because of my dad's spiky hairs. But I'm just trying to get the hair to look a little bit more, I guess, pressed down so it doesn't come out that spiky. I also use the comb just to use it with the clipper, just to try and get rid of that spiky effect in the back of my dad's head. Honestly, this is where I struggled the most because I try to get those hairs to stick out less because it's really hard trying to get those spiky hairs just to sit down a little bit more. Right, next we're just going to moisten up the hair and just comb the hair the way it was, so it's better to see how the hair is going and see if there's any errors that we could fix in this haircut. Right here, as I was combing through the hairs, I still noticed that those hairs were still sticking out. Here I just try and use that clipper over comb with the flat comb and use the clipper open and try and take out those hairs. But again, because of the magic clip problem, I had to use the other clipper, but it keeps and remains open. Here I try and keep the comb as flat as possible to the head and just use the clipper going down to up to try and blend it in a little bit more into the fade. Here I just try and use the clipper over comb to try and get rid of the hair in the back hanging over, because my dad usually doesn't like that hair hanging over, so I just try and get rid of it the most while also trying to connect the top of the hair to the bottom of the hair because of his spiky hair. Here I just come back with that 1.5 guard and just try and connect it top to bottom. Here I just come with that one open and just try and soften up those guidelines and try and get rid of those guidelines. Here I'm just going to pass with that clipper over comb again. Here I'm just triple passing just to make sure that it's more faded, and I just try and take a little bit more of those guidelines that I might see, so it comes the blend way better. In the meantime, I ask you guys to please subscribe and like the video. Maybe you guys don't watch until the end of those videos, but I would really appreciate if you just like the video and just subscribe to my channel. Right here, I just use the talc powder and put it on my hairbrush. And boom! What a storm of talc powder. I accidentally put too much of it, but it's fine. It smells amazing. But I tried not to put too much, but I guess it turned out bad. But yeah, it's just a mess. Here I'm just looking at how the fade came out and if there's anything I need to adjust. But in this case I come in with that one open and just try and take out those guidelines a little bit more. But guys, remember, it's not about how little you take, but how good the work is. So always try and make your best work in the time that you have. right here. Now we're just coming in with that comb over the thinning shears and just try and just connect the fade more with those thinning shears. This is going to be one of the last things I do before I end the fade, but this is just to give it extra details and just make it look way better with the using the comb and the thinning shears.